In the dim glow of a candlelit room, an accountant in 1694 dipped his quill into ink and changed the course of civilization. You don't know his name. You've never seen his face. But every dollar you spend today carries the legacy of what he and a handful of powerful men built in secret. This is the hidden story behind every dollar you touch. It begins long before the modern world, long before credit cards, digital wallets, or stock markets. It begins in a Britain trembling on the edge of collapse. The kingdom was drowning in war debt. Gold reserves were nearly empty, and confidence in the monarchy had fallen so low that merchants refused to lend any more money. The nation was running out of time, and that is when a radical idea was whispered into the king, an idea so strange, so dangerous that no government had ever attempted it before. Instead of borrowing gold, why not create it? A group of wealthy merchants, economists, and political insiders met behind closed doors. Their plan was simple but explosive. They would create a private institution that could lend money to the government. But the money didn't have to come from treasure vaults or gold mines. It could come from paper, from promises, from belief itself. Thus was born an institution that would silently reshape the world. The Bank of England. Not a royal bank, not a government-owned bank. A private bank, funded by private individuals, given the power to issue the nation's money. It was a deal built on urgency, fear, and opportunity, a deal that would echo through every economy that followed. The moment the bank opened its doors, the rules of reality shifted. Britain now had access to money it had never mined, never earned, never stored. And because the government guaranteed that this paper represented real value, people accepted it hesitantly at first, then unquestioningly. Paper became as powerful as gold. But there was a hidden twist that most citizens never realized. For every 1 unit of gold the bank held, it could issue several units of paper money more than it physically possessed. This wasn't fraud. This was the birth of fractional reserve banking. A system built on trust. A system built on belief. A system that only collapses when the belief does. And from that moment, money stopped being a thing and became a story. As Britain's paper wealth expanded, so did its power. It funded wars, fleets, industries, and empires. Every cannon fired, every ship launched, every factory built, all powered by money that did not exist a few years earlier. But such power always comes with a cost. Some saw the bank as a miracle, turning a bankrupt kingdom into a global empire. Others saw a darker truth. A private institution gaining extraordinary influence over public decisions. They feared that governments would no longer rule the economy. The bankers would, and they weren't wrong. As Britain prospered, other nations watched closely. France, America, Germany, they all wanted the same weapon, a central bank, a machine that could multiply money, stabilize debts, and power industries. One by one, countries adopted the same model, each adding their own variations. The story of money became global, and invisible threads of finance began to connect nations like a web. But the system had a shadow. A weakness built into its foundation. For every dollar created, someone owed $1. And for every dollar owed, interest accumulated. Economies grew, addicted to expansion. They needed more loans, more spending, more creation just to survive another year. Money was no longer just a medium of exchange, it became fuel. Fuel for growth, fuel for power, fuel for conflict. And whenever belief weakened, the entire system trembled. In 1907, a panic in America caused banks to collapse like dominoes. It was a frightening preview of what could happen when trust vanished. The crisis terrified lawmakers so deeply that they secretly met on Jekyll Island, a remote place no journalist could easily reach. They are hidden from the public. They designed America's own version of the Bank of England. The Federal Reserve, another private-public hybrid. Another institution built on secrecy, trust, and immense power. Decades later, when the Great Depression struck, millions lost their savings as banks failed. The system had shown its fragility, but instead of abandoning it, nations doubled down, introducing new regulations, protections, and tools to keep the machinery alive. World War II further transformed the system. Nations gathered in a small hotel in New Hampshire to create a financial order that would reshape the modern world. The US dollar became the center of global trade and confidence. For a time, every major currency was linked to the dollar, and the dollar was linked to gold. But even that didn't last. In 1971, facing mounting pressures, the US ended the gold standard just like that. Money was no longer tied to anything physical. It became pure, trust pure, belief pure story. And yet, the world didn't collapse. Instead, it adapted. Every digital transaction, every credit card swipe, every online purchase is a descendant of that first act over 300 years ago when Britain created money out of scarcity and out of fear. Today, when you hold $1 in your hand, you're not just holding paper. You're holding centuries of decisions, crises, secrets, and compromises. You're holding the weight of empires, wars, revolutions, and innovations. You're reholding a system built on invisible agreements that billions of people participate in without ever questioning them. Every dollar you spend whispers the same hidden story that money isn't real unless we agree it is real. That value exists because we believe it exists, and that the world runs not on gold or paper, but on trust. From the quiet rooms of 1694 to the glowing screens of today's markets, money has remained humanity's greatest invention and its greatest illusion, a tool powerful enough to build nations or break them. And as you go about your day buying food, paying bills, earning your income, the same system continues to operate silently in the background. Complex, mysterious, fragile, essential. The world has changed. Technology has evolved, but the core idea remains untouched. Money is a promise backed by belief. A belief backed by history, and a history born the moment the first bank rewrote the laws of value. Every dollar you spend today is a chapter in a story that began centuries ago. A story still unfolding. A story still shaping your life. Thanks for watching. If this story made you think, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden forces that shape our world.